And in the interim, though, I would like to first have Pastor Reverend Eugene Jones.
Good evening. Would you bow your heads as we say a word of prayer? Father, our God in heaven, we thank you again for all of your many blessings. We thank you for this occasion, even though it is not such a joyous occasion, but then again, it is a joyous occasion because of what we have learned and where we have come from. And so now we ask that you bless the organizers of this event. Bless each and every one that is here. Let everything that is said and done be for the upbuilding of your kingdom, to bring us together, that we may love one another and we may treat each other with dignity and respect. For these are the things we ask in the name of thy Son, Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Next, I think it would be important to have us recognize the fact that this is indigenous land we are living on. And I always want to make sure that every program we had the land recognition by one of my favorite friends, an awesome mayor and person that really works for the people. And that is Mary Ann Carbone, City of Sand City Mayor. Can we give her a hand?
Haku haku lau wash washet matika Mary Ann Carbone. Kashan Chushmash Kishan was Limu Akun Seaside Oil. Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here today. I'm Mary Ann Carbone, maiden name Chione, and resident. I grew up in the city of Seaside at 415 Francis Street, where Laguna Park is, and the Russian church now sits on where my family home was. My family originates from the Chumash lands of the Channel Islands and the ancient village of Sotonomo near Santa Ynez. My ancestors migrated up the coast to the Sierra area and lived here amongst the Esalen, Chumash, Ohlone, Salinan. There's many different peoples here for generations. I am Sand City's first woman and indigenous mayor, and I'd like to thank Jacqueline Simon for the invitation, and to all those who have been involved in organizing the 4th annual George Floyd Symposium. At this time, I wish to acknowledge the first people of the land and the ancestors who inhabited and cared for this land for eons. I ask that whenever you have a moment to please remember and acknowledge these people, and remember that these lands were never ceded, but rather taken through violence, force, enslavement, and separation of families. It is through these past actions many of the indigenous people today have suffered from generational trauma, a historical Holocaust or slavery leading to trauma passed down through the generations, impacting the health, emotional, and mental health and well-being of not only indigenous, but many other races still to this day. I pray today for healing and compassion to all those wronged. As we journey together on this circle of life, I will offer up a blessing to honor Creator, Mother Earth, the ancestors in all 4 directions. Kinono he alape, ku'it ku'hil unku, nuna alawe ke alisal, ka oxhil su, ka oxhil swatman kilexhil alape, kilikil alape, kilikil su, kilikil swatman, kilikil unku kahanta alasa. That's a Chumash prayer for the people. To our grandfather above, you see me and you see the people. You bring the sun, the moon, and the stars. We love the land. We love the sky. We love the ocean, the waters. You watch over the heavens. You watch over the ocean. You watch over the people. We believe, and so we pray. At this time, as an indigenous mayor, I I would like to share a few words on an issue affecting Indigenous people, the missing, murdered Indigenous people crisis. As an Indigenous policymaker, I have been advocating on this issue when I went to the White House back in 2018 to speak on issues within our jurisdictions and asked what they are doing about the MMIP crisis. I have been raising awareness for many years, and in 2023, when SB 1314, the Feather Alert, was introduced here in California, I began to work with my police chief, Dave Honda, to create a panel of speakers and a state-certified post-police officer standard training for law enforcement through a one-day conference to enable officers to bring them to a local location here and to bring awareness of the MMIP crisis for not only law enforcement but other groups to help better communicate and investigate this crisis. We're here in California, we rank number 5 across the nation of missing, murdered Indigenous peoples, unsolved, unreported, and under-investigated cases that has fallen through the cracks over the years because of a lack of awareness and coordination. I will continue to work at raising awareness in my community on issues and like this and other issues, and to be a strong voice for those people who cannot be for themselves. Let's bring our sisters, aunties, mothers, children home. May Creator bless each and every one of you being here today. May He protect our safety, our law enforcement, our officers in their line of duty. And I pray that you all have open hearts and knowledge to receive the knowledge that we're going to be receiving here today. Thank you.
So what I'd like to do is have Yuri Anderson, representing Supervisor Askew's office, to come up, as we are going to provide a supervisorial certificate of recognition for all the work that you do. I know you didn't know that.
You're very touchy.
Sensitive.
Which is good.
Can
We
you
need sensitivity training, right?
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here representing Supervisor Askew, who was not able to be here today due to personal commitments, but she did prepare a certificate of recognition to present to Mayor Marianne Carbone, Mayor of Sin City, for your meaningful participation in the 4th Annual George Floyd Community Engagement and Building Bridges Symposium, your commitment to advancing dialogue, fostering unity, and building bridges across communities embodies the spirit of this event and honors the enduring legacy of George Floyd. Through your engagement, you've contributed to shaping a more inclusive, compassionate, and courageous future. With deep appreciation, we commend your efforts and leadership in community engagement.
Great, thank you. Next, we're going to have the representation of the city of Seaside. Mayor Oglesby was going to be in this spot. He had to be called into I believe it was a conference, either out of the state or up north at least, and he asked would Pro Tem Dave Pacheco, who's been a supporter of all programs really in Seaside. I've known Dave for, I want to say at least 25 years or more. He's always at all events involving the community. You can start walking up here. No problem. Come on up. Let's give him a hand as he walks up the stairs. Thank you. You are welcome. And just a serious note, we need empathetic administrators, people that are elected to represent us, to know who we are and then help make change when we need to. And then when we're doing something really good, like community engagement with law enforcement, and let's give our hand to law enforcement that came away from the Roots concert to be here with us today, as well as the entire management of Monterey, Police Department. Give them a hand. This gentleman always makes time for the forums and for people in general. So on that note, let him say a few words representing Mayor Oglesby.
First of all, it's an honor to be here. I do know the mayor is out of state, doing city business, making a difference and bringing it back to the community. This is a very solemn day, but also it's a very proud day because you are here with us. You are part of the change. And as my friend Lisa Mitchell would say, we are here, we work better together than separate. And today you need to work harder than ever because there's people out there in leadership that are fighting real hard against you. They are trying to divide and conquer. They are trying to make all the wrong changes for all the wrong reasons. And it's all the time, all of you have fought, but now's the time to fight harder. All of you are worked hard. All of you have many successes. The city of Seaside asks you to step forward and fight harder because now, more than ever, the time is now to make a difference. I want to thank Jacqueline Simon. I've seen her for 20, 25 years making a difference, putting this event up 4 years as a volunteer. Those are wonderful people. Can we have a nice hand for Jacqueline, wherever she may be? Just a couple little things. You know, we looked at the police officers. They are making significant change, especially our department, because that's what I relate to. I relate very well to Seaside. That's my home, that's my town, and those are the officers that I'm proud of. I think the important thing to me is that they get the training. More importantly, they are good people. You have to be a good person before you can be a good officer and a good citizen. And I think that's really important. I think solutions-oriented officers, that's what this is about. You as individuals are what we are about because we need now to make that change. You know, and we're almost done here. I'm talking tomorrow about people that are heroes. And heroes are people that are deeply appreciated and admired for what they do. Many of you, to me, and I'm probably just as old as most of you, are heroes to me. You are the mentors that I've seen grow up and do good things and make change in your community. Referring to Seaside, just looking around the room at Ruthie Watts and Lisa and a variety of people, and our new city manager, he's going to be part of the hero that's going to make significant change so our youth can get jobs, so our young people can want to come back to Seaside. Those are the heroes. The Ruthie Watts of the world, the police officers, those are the ones that are going to make a difference. Last night I wasn't prepared to say this, but I was watching Kobe Bryant's show. And he talked a little bit about he had a dream, but he had to work for his dream. It didn't come without work. He started 6 years old, started to play basketball, and he had a dream. He dreamt of it. But what he had to do, that many of you do, is work every day, every hour, to make that dream happen. It doesn't come because you want it to. It happens because you have to make it work. You have to earn it. And when you earn it, you feel better for making that happen. I appreciate and watched Kobe over the years. I saw what he did. I saw what he did for his family. And those are the things that make heroes. Each of you, more than ever, need to step forward, need to make a difference, change lives, because this is about our future. This is about our kids. And I've been known to work with kids for decades, and each decade we've been told it will be better. Now is, and I'm tired of the waiting and the pausing, now is the time we need to make it better. And with all of you being involved, with your efforts being here today, with Jacqueline's efforts, We will make Seaside better. We will make the peninsula, because each of you, through your leadership, your willingness to be a hero for change, that's a good thing. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for what you're going to be doing. It's about active people in Seaside. And again, thank you so very much.
Thank you, and I absolutely feel those words and believe in them 100%. It takes all of us to make a difference, and it only takes one of us to decide to do that. And then, like the ambassadors, whether they're youth or peace officers or public safety officers, if we embrace that, we can make change. Yes, I think it was mentioned that this is a bittersweet day. Pastor Jones mentioned that. I'll never be able to unsee that pain on that TV the day that George Floyd was murdered. I'll never be able to unhear him call for his mother. I've been in law enforcement for 4 generations of my family, and we've dealt with a lot of issues. We tend to always want to try to help a person with a second chance so that we can help them and their families have a better life. There are wonderful police throughout the nation, but there are a few that should not be in that system. But those very minor, small number harm and hurt law enforcement that's doing a great job. I want to humanize law enforcement with youth. I want the youth to run to them for help and assistance as opposed to running away. I am so happy to share and say that, you know, Councilmember Pacheco was correct. City of Seaside is bringing it. Can we just give them a hand right now? Since 2020, they have worked with us to develop this Youth of Promise and Public Safety Officer program. They helped to set the tone. The City Council of Seaside, Ian Oglesby, your mayor, very knowledgeable and empathetic about this population and very supportive of giving youth and others an opportunity to know each other, and certainly law enforcement. So I'm in agreement. City of Seaside, Monterey Police Department, and some South County police officers I've been working with for years, you make us proud. So continue to do that. Stand up. Transparency, respect, just everyday knowledge that we're all humans. And as I share in all of the trainings, I want all of us to get home at night. I want you, and I want youth, and I want families to embrace this. That's partially of what today is about. And when you plant a seed in a youth, that in some of the pictures we saw today, we had 5-year-old ambassadors walking up to a chief, Hober, and we partnered them, and at the end of the 2.5-hour session, we asked, how do you feel about this relationship? How do you feel about what we've been doing all day? And I'll never forget that young little boy said, I feel like we're brothers. A 5-year-old that did not want to have anything to do with someone in a law enforcement outfit. When we have the training, they are coming in full dress. I say, I want people to see, I want them to learn. These individuals are here as public servants, and yes, when issues occur, they have to step in. But I want us to continue to be realistic. So I'll always remember some of the many awesome training activities we had. Jake Osborne is one of our, and let's just give him a hand. He's working with these youth everywhere, all over the county, and helping to get them to the activity programs. So I did promise that I would try to remain on time, on task, and on target, even in light of some of the issues related to the route traffic and festival traffic and the ambassadors that are still trying to get here from Castroville. So we're going to go on to our next awesome, wonderful speaker. When I say her name, no pun intended, she is truly a representative of Seaside and Monterey County. And she's got this journalist background, so she really helps to teach us how to do that right. Yvonne Thomas, please come up and share. Yvonne has been a part of every one of our trainings, every one of our programs since 2020. And so there's so much I could say about her. We have information in the public document that we provided you today. But she shared a letter after Tyree Nichols had his incident with the police department. And I'll never forget some of those words. So today, I'm hoping that she'll continue to impart some knowledge, to give us hope, to give us direction. Because this isn't about pointing fingers. It's about us together helping each other learn and be a part of this community of Monterey County. Because we are doing it right here, in my opinion. Yvonne?
Good afternoon. As Ms. Simon spoke, this is my 4th consecutive year speaking at this event, and this year's event is more important than ever. 5 years ago today, the world witnessed a horrifying truth that Black communities have known for centuries, that too often justice is delayed and lives are stolen. George Floyd was murdered under the knee of a system built on racism, sanctioned by silence, and perpetuated by indifference. His life mattered. His dreams mattered. His last words, "I can't breathe," shook the conscience of a nation and ignited a global movement for justice. But 5 years later, we must ask, what has truly changed? Well, a lot has changed. The scales of justice are supposed to swing like a pendulum that eventually serve as a balance for society. But thus far in 2025, we've watched that pendulum of justice boomerang our country back to the pre-civil rights era. And many of our giant steps forward towards equality and accountability have been violently yanked backward. Last week, the Justice Department moved to cancel settlements with the cities of Minneapolis and Louisville that called for an overhaul of their police departments following the killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. That became the catalyst for nationwide racial injustice protests in the summer of 2020. Now, on top of that, the U.S. Department of Justice, under this current administration, has announced its intention to cancel federal police reform agreements, known as consent decrees, that were established after the killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Civil rights advocates have condemned the DOJ's decision, arguing that it undermines efforts to address systemic police misconduct and could erode public trust in law enforcement because police departments will no longer be held accountable for abusing their power. So what does all of this mean? And where do we go from? Because what we are seeing is not democracy. This is authoritarianism in action. On this 5th anniversary of George Floyd's murder, we have a powerful opportunity to reflect, re-energize, and take meaningful steps towards justice and systemic change. There are a few things we can do, and there are a few things that we must do. First, we can start by honoring his memory and acknowledging the pain. We must continue to host or join memorials and vigils in community spaces, and participate in important events like this symposium hosted annually by Ms. Simon. We must also continue to push for policy change by reigniting advocacy for federal legislation such as the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. Finally, mobilization and education of the community is of the utmost importance right now. We are watching our freedom of speech and civil rights disappear right in front of us, like granules of sand in an hourglass. We are being flooded daily with executive orders and a flurry of federal funding cuts under the guise of making America great again, designed to distract and manipulate the populace, and that is slowly turning America into a fascist state. Manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their toxic behavior, but they don't want to discuss the disrespect that triggered you. The assault on DEI is a perfect example of this manipulation. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, the acronym DEI, has been weaponized, and it's high time that we take steps to reclaim it. Now let me be clear. DEI was never designed as a quota system to hire. What it does do is ensure that the best and the brightest get to sit down with the employer and discuss the opportunity. And that has not always been the case in our United States of America. Efforts to bolster support for dismantling DEI have resulted in attempts to cripple progress in minority communities and whitewash world history. Historical books on racism, the Ku Klux Klan, and the treatment of women and race in art and literature are all being banned. In January, an executive order was signed, citing it was ending the radical indoctrination in K-12 schools, which prompted schools to ban books from classrooms that don't align with this administration's agenda. We are now living in a world that refuses to allow students to read books on the Holocaust, histories of feminism, civil rights, and racism. And they've even singled out Maya Angelou's famous autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Those books right now are all banned. But Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf, well, that one somehow made the cut. So let that sink in for a minute. We should all be standing on our rooftops and shouting, stop messing with our history. And if they stop us from teaching it in the schools, then it's up to us to teach it in our own communities. Because the more they try to erase, the more we will replace it. These are blatant attempts to rewrite America's history. We have to stop asking why they're doing this and start asking why we keep allowing it. During these tumultuous times, how do we hold on to hope when we are watching our civil rights erode right in front of our eyes? Regardless of the obstacles presented before us, we must stand strong, step out in faith, and boldly pursue our destinies. That's what our ancestors expect from us. In a nutshell, we have to save ourselves. It's important now more than ever that you do not fall asleep. Stay woke. Your enemy's dream is our dystopian nightmare. We are gathered here today, not just to remember, but to recommit, to transform our grief into action, to turn this memory into momentum. Our voting rights are being challenged, but we must utilize the power of the ballot to register voters and inform communities about candidates' positions on justice reform, and to work on issue-based initiatives when available, and to hold all of our elected officials accountable. I'm extremely disappointed with what is taking place in our country. But I'm not destroyed, because we still have a say in the matter of how this all ends. American democracy is envied throughout this world. If you think you love freedom, but you don't care if it applies to everyone, then what you actually love is privilege. This anniversary is not the closing of a chapter. Let it be a rallying cry. We've seen cities make promises. We've seen murals painted and hashtags trend. We've even seen some police officers held to account. But we have not yet seen the full measure of justice. Not for George Floyd. Not for Breonna Taylor. Not for the countless names we never knew. It's time we stop politely asking and start demanding real accountability from those in power. We want community safety that doesn't come at the barrel of a gun or a knee on someone's neck. We want a future where no one's breath is stolen by fear. To the policymakers, we are watching all of you. To the community, we are still rising. And to George Floyd, we carry your name in our fight. Let this day not be one of mourning alone, but of movement. Let this gathering, this moment, be a line drawn in history, because we are not done, because we cannot stop, because George Floyd should still be alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne. My goodness. Reality. You know, it's always great to be upbeat and happy and joyous. But we also have to do that with reality. That's really, really important. So that we then don't forget what our responsibilities are. And I think Ms. Thomas brought that home really well. Thank you, Yvonne. So, give me one moment. I understand that Emmanuel Garcia, District Director from the Office of Jimmy Panetta, has arrived. I think I saw you walk in. Great. I honored you, and pushing it back, everybody was great about that. Let's give him a hand. He fought the traffic to get here. Another person helping us to keep this going, Miss Spencer, please give her a hand. She's so awesome. Want to take an opportunity to share that, you know, we have a number of awesome people here today. When I share their name, feel free to give them a little woof woot or hands up or a clap. Bert Johnson, former chairperson of Monterey County's Foundation, Community Foundation, done so much for the community. Dave Pacheco, of course, you heard him earlier, City of Seaside councilperson. None other than my link, Incorporated Sister Annalisa Mitchell. Are you still here? Please. Yvonne Thomas, who just spoke to us. President Lyndon Tarver of the NAACP. Lyndon, I'm here. In a way of Lyndon, so people know who you are. There he is. Mary Ann Carbone, my good friend that spoke earlier. An awesome pastor in our community, really doing that good work. I serve with him on the NAACP Executive Committee. Eugene Jones, Pastor Jones. The newest member of Seaside's infrastructure and management, Greg McDaniel, where are you? If you haven't had a chance to speak with him, please do. He's very innovative, very progressive. And that's the kind of leadership I believe we need to have these days. Similarly, most of you, probably all of you, a couple of people in here are new to me, but for the majority of you that are here, I know you and you are progressive and you knew that you are looking for how to make things work and make it happen as opposed to how not to. So this gentleman, I believe, is going to help our city evolve, just like the city council has, even more. So thank you for coming today. Also, we have Jean Roche. Raise your hand there. Thank you for coming. We have Sarah, and I don't want to murder your name. Would you say your name?
Obstadal.
Okay, Sarah Ostadal. Let's give her even a bigger hand because I just murdered your name. And of course, Yuri Anderson. Yuri, stand up. Yuri is now the new chair of Monterey Peninsula College. My goodness, I served with her on board with the DWMC. She's Renee Root Askew's, one of her major writers and staff that is making a difference, that has made a difference. And if you're Facebook friends, she's got really cute children. So please, one more hand for Yuri. We have Renee Penalver from CSUMB. The new name is Cal State Monterey Bay. Thank you for coming. She'll be speaking later. And is Nick Borges in the house? He signed in. I know there's a lot going on. I've seen the officers that we had here had to leave. We have their certificates, so we'll have to probably provide them to the management. We also have Emmanuel Garcia. Give him a hand. He's putting certificates together, so we're going to give you a little bit more time. So it is, my pleasure to share once again that, it's important for us to decide what we can do. When I saw what happened May 25th, 2020, I was upset, of course, but I just said, I'm a professor, so I'm like, what can I do? So my question to all of you is, what can you do? As Ms. Thomas said, what can we do? We cannot not do anything, because that grows on you. If you're progressive and if you have children, if you are parents, if you are elected official, don't you feel like you have that responsibility to help us evolve and learn from it? So if you agree with that, I want to also mention that in our book, we had normally a presentation of the color guard. The Master Chief is here, but the rest weren't able to make it. They're stuck in an airport in, is it Colorado? That's when, Denver, okay. So they're not able to be here. They were going to be, but the Master Chief from Monterey team is here. Would you please stand so we can give you a big hand? And he's also one of our Youth of Promise ambassadors. He was one of my assistants during this past year with the younger ambassadors. So thank you so much. His name is Donald Maggott Jr. So another hand for him, please. Thanks. So while I see Emmanuel Garcia from, we are going to send a mic down to you, Miss Ruthie Watts. Please give Miss Ruthie Watts a hand.
I would like to acknowledge Debbie Anthony, who is the past board member of Monterey Peninsula College.
Absolutely. Let's give her a hand. As well, she is a executive committee member of the NAACP. So another hand for that. Thank you for your volunteerism. We next will have a presentation. I was asked to put this person's name up first while they're finishing up some other areas. Miss Valerie Anthony, community leader, flew all the way from Georgia to be here. Let's give her a hand for that. Originally, Miss Anthony, of course, lived in Pacific Grove, has 3 awesome, wonderful boys. They're all part of our Youth of Promise ambassadors. She's working on developing alliance-oriented programs to help children K through 12 to develop relationships and friendships with individuals that they can talk to if something's happening to them that doesn't feel right or seem right. Because I believe we all need alliances when that's happening, probably especially now more than ever, but definitely for children. It's an awesome program. There will be a breakout session right after we're finished today here with both Ms. Thomas to share any other additional information, and of course Ms. Anthony. So she's here to bring the truth, and she flew all the way here to do that, and I just am so honored. Thank you for coming.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here just to remind us all that allyship starts at home. Allegiance and our sense of agency is cultivated in our communities, and alliances are forged in truth. If you're a parent, you know there's nothing more heartbreaking than learning your child is being bullied at school. But if you're a parent of a Black child, racial injustice on the playground is not just bullying, it's war on their existence. And it is a violent act against their humanity. When teachers or school officials fail to act, they betray both their duty and their power. They minimize the harm done, which strips away a child's agency and their dignity. Racism is real, and for too long, the responsibility for fixing the harm has fallen solely on the very people harmed by it. Black students, their families, and marginalized communities. Too many parents who do speak up are left without answers, support, or recourse. As they send their children into unsafe classrooms, toxic sports team gatherings, and indifferent systems. And make no mistake, what is now the classroom and the sports field for our children will one day become the boardroom, the office lounge, the city sidewalk, and the police patrol streets. It is a disenfranchisement I myself am all too familiar with. My 3 sons attended Robert Down Elementary in Pacific Grove from August 2019 until I withdrew them in May of 2022. In March 2023, with the support of Mr. Mel Mason and NAACP President Lyndon Tarver, I filed a complaint with the Pacific Grove Unified School District documenting nearly 24 racially charged incidents towards my children. Within a month of the school year, former Robert Down Principal Sean Keller told my then 7-year-old son in September 2019 that as a young Black man, there was a target on his back and there were people who believed he didn't belong there. In 2022, as we gradually returned to school following COVID, my 3rd grader learned at recess there was to be a birthday party for a fellow classmate, but my son would not be invited because the party was for whites only. A few weeks later, the issues heightened with a 3rd grade classmate calling my son a slave. And after bringing both these incidents to Sean Keller, he still refused to move my son into another class for the duration of the school year. Even more disturbing was Pacific Grove School District's finding in their investigation into my complaint. In a letter to me dated August 11, 2023, they stated that though they were alarmed at what happened to my children, they found there was no violation of board policy, regulation, or law. Instead of the adults and educators at Robert Down acknowledging and actively working against the trauma my children were experiencing within the school walls and on the playground, my children were forced to shoulder that trauma up and down the school hallways every single day. For my youngest child in particular, his education was brought to a complete halt as he tried to hold up the weight of that trauma, and when he could do that no longer, it was him that the school tried to label as the problem. I think we can all agree there are facts and there are lies. And in between, though, there are children caught in the crossfire, trying to live a truth that some would rather erase for convenience or for power. Even now, there are individuals in your districts who look like me even, and yet believe that when children of color report racial injustices at school, they're just playing the race card. And that instead of being heard, they should simply be encouraged to do better. But truth is truth, whether or not it is accepted, welcomed, or even believed. The truth sets us free, not riddle us with guilt about our past. Instead, it teaches us. The truth is a guide to help us build a new path of inclusion, of equity, and authentic connection. The evidence of truth is here in this room. It's not abstract, it's not distant, it's all of you. Parents, pastors, children, state and local government leaders, teachers, advocates, and members of the Monterey and Seaside police departments. When truth gathers in a room, when truth takes the form of people who care, who show up, who refuse to look away, it can no longer be denied. Schools are extensions of our homes, and every single one of us, educators, neighbors, parents, leaders, has a role to play in what kind of home we build. This is what allyship looks like. This is what community looks like. As you leave today and you go out to start a new week, I hope you remember that allyship starts at home. Allegiance to our children and their sense of agency is cultivated in our communities. And true alliances can only be forged in truth. Thank you.
My goodness, well said. Please, another hand. She flew 5,000 miles to be here. And now we have an opportunity to hear the director of Jimmy Panetta, Congressman Panetta's office. And my goodness, he drove tirelessly. We were on the phone together earlier. I guess it's the festivals that are happening here in Monterey that held that up, and he asked us to hold off a little bit, and I honored that. Congressman Panetta has been a real big supporter. I've actually known the family for decades. He's one of those progressive electeds as well, and I'm always proud and happy to have him participate with us. He's honoring our, please come on up, he's honoring our officers, peace officers from Monterey. I know that they're out, most of them at the Roots program. I hope they're not, well, anyway. I'm sure they're having a good time out there, but they're in the law enforcement mode. So we won't be able to particularly provide those to them. We'll give them to you as well. But we'd like to share something from Congressman Panetta, please. Good to see you again.
Yeah, pleasure to see you. Good afternoon, everybody. As stated, my name is Emmanuel Garcia. I am the District Director of Congressman Jimmy Panetta. Representative Panetta wishes he was with us this afternoon, but was not able to due to the legislative schedule in Washington. Ms. Simon? Thank you for bringing us together on this bittersweet day. Events like this are hugely important in bringing community together and building ties between law enforcement, community leaders, and youth. Congressman Panetta has often noted that our rights are self-evident, yet they are not self-affirming. If we do not stand up for our rights and stand up for justice, it will not happen. There's a powerful quote that Kennedy stated. He said, "If not us, who? If not now, when?" Ask yourself that question when you think someone should really do something about this, right? Citizenship and duties of citizenship are not just a benefit, but they are a responsibility. A responsibility that all of us carry on our shoulders, and one that we are all acting on by being here with us today. Congressman Panetta is proud of the work that you are doing here today, and he looks forward to working with you, listening, advocating for you, and fighting alongside you, fighting next to you for a more just and verdant future. Thank you.
So now we'll have an opportunity to have our chief from Monterey, Chief David Hober. Please give him a hand. He's awesome. He has worked so hard in our programs, and he attended four 4-hour trainings that we had this past year. He attended all of the activity programs with the youth. He became a partner to so many youth, and they got along so well, they all wanted him to be their partner. The program is one where we partner a law enforcement officer with a youth aged between 5 and 17, and let them get to know each other. We eat Subway sandwiches together. We do special activities together. And we'll be showing some pictures, we showed some earlier, but later on, to have you get an idea. That's how we change the narrative. We develop relationships with ourselves, but especially with our children, to understand that law enforcement is their safety as well as should be understood for their relationships that they have in the community and protecting us. So on that note, I'm going to give him a hand again and say thank you so much, David.
Well, good afternoon. Jacqueline, thank you very much for inviting me to be here. I do want to start by acknowledging the date that we're here today, the 5-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd at the hands of the Minneapolis Police Department. Dr. Martin Luther King related that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And on this day, there's nothing more truthful than that. This is the first one of these symposiums that I've been to, because when George Floyd was killed, it was during the Memorial Day weekend, and I usually go to Bend, Oregon, where one of my sons lives. And so I go away for the 3-day weekend, and I remember when this occurred. But it's just so important that we acknowledge not only that, we've listened to some hard truths. These are not easy conversations. What I've heard, there's great pain in those stories. And I think that we need to understand and acknowledge that. I thank everybody for being here. I thank Jacqueline for all that she does to really try to bring together community and police around these issues and have hard discussions so we can understand other perspectives. Today's symposium is titled the 4th Annual George Floyd Community Engagement and Building Bridges Symposium, which to me relates relationship. And we need to have relationship so that we're talking and understanding each other's perspectives. And really, that is the importance of what Jacqueline and Dr. Eugene have done through the programs that we were able to be a part of this last year, that the Seaside, I know Nick was here and the other Seaside police officers were here, that they have taken part in programs like that. So we're bringing not only youth, but we also got to interact with adults and parents together to try to build bridges and show that really the police are here to help. I wanted to hit on 3 areas today. First, a little bit about my background. I've been thinking about what I was going to talk about today, and some things happened this week that I wanted to talk about a little bit. And finally, the Youth of Promise and Peace Officer Ambassador Program that Jacqueline facilitates for us. So first, a little bit about my background. I'm a 3rd-generation police officer. So my great-grandfather was a police officer in San Francisco. It then skipped, that was on my mother's side. My father was a police officer in San Jose, and I then became a police officer. When I was young, I had a brother and a sister, both 2 years younger than me, 2 and 4 years younger than me. And my mom always told us that she didn't want us to be cops because her impression of the police were that they were uneducated and that the perception of people in society, in American society, viewed the police as being blue-collar and somewhat thuggish, and she didn't want her children to be that. She was married to a police officer. And when I heard that, I mean, my father was, he was great. Everything about him was great, and I couldn't understand that perspective. So I tell you that. I started this job 37 years ago coming from a police family that was a little different than most police families. I remember when I was about 6 years old, we were camping somewhere. My dad was very progressive, mom and dad both very progressive, and he played guitar and sang, and we were camping at Pinecrest. And one night we were sitting around the fire playing guitars and singing with these young folks. And the next day I wanted to go over there and do the same thing, and my mom told me they don't want to hang out with us anymore because they found out your dad's a cop. And so in getting into this profession, I'm sure that it was really about trying to meet up with what Dad had done, my hero. But then on the mom side, it was, Mom, I'm going to show you that we can make this better. We're going to be better in what we do. We should promote education for the police. The police should be doing good things for the people as we say they are. And I will tell you that when I started 37 years ago, the cops today, the Seaside officers that were in the back, our Monterey police officers everywhere are policing better today than they ever have before. That doesn't mean they're perfect. That doesn't mean they mess up. And I'll tell you that I was working when the Rodney King incident happened. I was working when the George Floyd incident happened, the Breonna Taylor, the Tyree Nichols, the names go on and on and on. And every time I hear something like that, not only is it excruciating because of what happened to that person and what it means to all the communities, but in me telling Mom I'm going to make this better, every time that happens, it brings our profession down again. Every time that I think we're progressing forward, it brings it back down. And that is not what I want. I think and know that we can do better, and I know that police officers today, the vast majority of them, the 99% of them, want to do the right thing, and they're doing the right thing. And when officers do things that we see behind these names, that affects the other 99.9% of them in a negative light. So this and other things like this help us build bridges through relationships. I talked about something that happened this week in the Rotary Club that I'm a member of. We have an allocations committee. And this last week, we allocated some money to different, I always like to be the person that is working under the chair of what we call the Youth and Education Allocations Committee, because I really like to focus on youth. And we had community partnerships for Youth Come. And the director of that organization introduced 2 young men who work on the street with kids. One was Ray and one was Jorge. And they talked about the importance of being mentors to kids. And Jorge talked about the aspects of art and where he grew up. And he talked about the Seaside Police Department and how his art was graffiti and they created a graffiti mural at the Seaside Police Department and how proud he was of that, and that the youth from Seaside came and helped create that mural and how positive that was. That's an example of us coming together as community and working together. The aspect that Jacqueline does with all of the police departments that we saw the pictures of here, that Seaside did last year, and that we do in other communities, that's called the Youth of Promise and Peace Officer Ambassador Program. There's other programs like that, but really, as Jacqueline explained, what happened was we had our police officers go through 4-hour, I wouldn't call them trainings, but offering perspectives to our police officers that maybe they hadn't heard before to get a different perspective. Second, as Jacqueline described, bringing youth and officers together, where they're eating Subway, but then we're just kind of talking and getting to know each other. And there's a process where Jacqueline and Dr. Jean, the person that could talk the most about the other person, so the police officer and the youth, we would compete against the other kids. And the more we knew about each other, then we got some prizes that obviously the kids like. But what that's doing is humanizing us, the police, for the kids, which is very important. Jacqueline talked about the brothers. What I remembered is, and over here in the back by Gabe and Mike, you'll see those two aspects of some art where at the end of everything, you're asked to write one word. The police officer's asked to write one word, and youth are asked to write one word. I had my word, but the word that stuck out to me was love, that one of the little boys talked about, which I thought was just very, very important. And I think that it's those things that will bring us to have some understanding. Jacqueline asked me to talk about what we're doing in Monterey, and I think that it's not just in Monterey, I think it's all police departments, all progressive police departments are doing things like this. But because she asked me to talk about Monterey, it doesn't mean that other police departments aren't doing this. They are. This is just kind of some of the things that we do. Our vision relates. So in any organization you're a part of, they're going to have a vision statement. Ours is that the Monterey Police Department is a professional, dynamic, and innovative organization with the highest ethical standards. That the Monterey Police Department is committed to serving everyone with dignity, fairness, and respect. Somebody else used those words already about treating people with dignity, fairness, and respect. We really tried to instill a culture of serving everyone with honor, dignity, fairness, and respect, which is built upon an organization that has ethics as its highest standards. This week I met with 2 new employees. Every new employee that we bring on, I meet with them and talk about these things and tell them about the importance of ethics and that everything we do is built on ethics, and that we need to understand that these are not just words, that we treat people with dignity, fairness, and respect, but that we actually do that. Our motto is that we remember who you are and what you represent. And really, that you represent yourself and your family and the Monterey Police Department and policing everywhere in the way that you treat people. I believe that that ethical base is reinforced with self-awareness, policy, self-reflection, training, supervision, leadership, accountability, and review. But even with all of that, there's an old saying that culture eats policy for breakfast. So I can have all these policies and I can talk about all these things, but unless I really live that and show that and encourage that and reward that, it's not going to be part of our culture. And I think that the point of all this is that we need to ensure our culture is one that truly values all humanity and that we truly treat people with dignity, fairness, and respect. And really what we learned in kindergarten, the golden rule, treat people the way you want to be treated. It's that easy. And that's the culture that we try to instill in our officers, not only in Monterey, but I see it in Seaside and not in all of the organizations that we have, that we work with in Monterey County. And I'll close with this. Today is a solemn day as it marks the death of George Floyd. And I certainly pray that we don't have any more of those. I pray that our communities come more together in understanding different perspectives, and I think that part of the way we do that is, as has been discussed, that our police departments reflect our communities, and in doing that, we're understanding better. There was some discussion about DEI and how important that is, so that we have organizations that reflect the people, and really what that's doing is it is bringing people into our organizations so that we now we're all doing the same thing. It's all part of the same. And with that, Jacqueline, thank you very much for inviting me to speak. Thank you to all of the other speakers and everybody else for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm hoping you really heard what he's had to say. Everything that he shared happened during this past year. And of course, someone that I originally met in the Monterey Police Department was Mike Bruno, the assistant chief there. So Mike, would you come on up, and Lieutenant Castor? They were part of our program, and Emmanuel Garcia, would you come up so we can present the two certificates here to you two. And since the other officers had to go back to the festival conference, which we were made aware of today, I have these that I'll give to you that you could possibly share with them, or we can come and present another time at your office.
So this is Assistant Chief. And of course, don't take this personally, guys, but one of my favorite people over here, Gabriel Castor, Lieutenant Castor. When we met with him originally, it was so wonderful. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Back there? Okay. It was so wonderful, the openness, the honesty, the progressiveness, what can we do to make this better? What can we do to learn more? What can we do to convey to the community what we're doing? Because honestly, they really are doing a lot of wonderful things in our community. For 4 years, I'm familiar with some of the good work. Seaside as well, knocking it out the park in my opinion. Awesome Chief of Police, Nick Borges, doing some great things. But it's times like this that we need to award and support and honor them because they're doing a good job. Well, hand maybe? The other thing that's important about that is we have to remember what policing is. They're not social workers. They're here to usually arrive to a scene most times when something's wrong or something's happening, or they need to be a part of that for some reason. We have to keep that in mind. Secondly, as Chief Hober shared, they go through training, they go through role plays and look at what's happening in their communities, and when you have that opportunity to make change, you do. But if you're doing something right, we keep doing it. So it's really happening here as it is in the city of Seaside. And by the way, city of Sand City, my good friend Mayor Carbone, your new chief is excellent, and we are looking forward to coming and sharing as well. So if we can give them a hand, and I'm going to read this real quick for you. And you, there we go. How much?
All right, Certificate of Special Congressional Recognition presented to David Hober, Chief of Police, Monterey Police Department, Peace Officer Ambassador. That's who he is, and truly he is. In recognition of outstanding and invaluable service to the community. Thank you. And by the way, this is being live streamed. Last year we had over 700 people in live stream, so hopefully those of you listening, thank you and we welcome you, and most times it's to know more about what we're doing so they can do it too. Isn't that awesome? It's happening right here in Monterey County and in Seaside and in Monterey. Now I will read this second one. Michael Bruno. Do you happen to have his? Okay, he's going to look for that. But while he's looking for that, I want to share an awesome person. Knew of him in San Jose, and truth be told, there's at least 3 Michael Brunos. And sometimes I wonder which one I'm talking to in emailing. But this one is certainly awesome and really provided a lot of privilege to both partnering with the youth and, in fact, Master Chief Donald Maggott, I believe you were partnered with him at one point, correct? Yeah, I heard all the conversations. It was really, really good. So here we go. Peace Officer Ambassador. For your meaningful participation in the 4th Annual George Floyd Community Engagement and Building Bridges Symposium, your commitment to advancing dialogue, fostering unity, and building bridges across communities embodies the spirit of the event that it honors. The enduring legacy of George Floyd, which is what we're here for, is to remember that. With deep appreciation, we commend your efforts and leadership in the community engagement. Michael Bruno, Assistant Chief, Monterey Police Department.
Thank you. You want to say a thing, or are you good?
Okay, sure. He talks a lot, let me tell you, normally, but thank you. Lieutenant Castor, can you come over? Maybe we'll picture down here. Good. Great, thank you. The same thing that was read earlier, it will be on this one. And now, exactly as you want to do the version? Okay. Thank you, Jay. All right. And yes, Gabriel Castor, Lieutenant Castor. Really awesome person and helped us to start this all in the beginning and really progressive, and I so appreciated that. Yeah, perfect. Does that go? Absolutely. Can we get one of all of us?
Yes. Okay, so 3 tables of our youth are still coming from Highway 1, caught on the traffic to the festivals. So we'll make sure that we get those, their certificates to them. But I do want to thank some people that are helping us to make this happen. Also, I have the stack of police peace officers right here. And we'll give it to you, you can give it to them. So the other people that may be calling it now are people just making this happen, and then as soon as I provide this, then Dr. Penalver will be speaking. Jake Osborne, come on up. He has been awesome working with us. So this is also, he's a youth ambassador coordinator, helping me to coordinate everybody together. Source for his meaningful participation in the George Floyd Symposium, your commitment to advance dialogue, fostering unity, and building bridges. Matter of fact, he coined the building bridges 4 years ago because we evolved from reimagining policing to building bridges because we had evolved. And that's what we need to do. We need to continue the paradigm shift on as we work together, as we learn how to do policing, engagement, whatever it may be, better and more inclusive. And that's what's happening. Other than that, I would not, it's volunteerism, I would not be doing this. But you need quality people working with you within that environment. One of those individuals is Jake Osborne, helping us for the last 4 years with the kids, with the police officers. So the main thing I just want to close with is, through your engagement, you have contributed to shaping a more inclusive, compassionate, and courageous future. With deep appreciation, we commend your efforts and leadership in community engagement. All right, Jake Oswald, a little hand. And at the same time,
I would also like to present the Certificate of Special Congressional Recognition on behalf of Congressman Panetta to Mr. Jake Osborne for all the work he's done for our community. Thank you.
thank you, Wes.
Would you like to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah. Come on, Mr.
I didn't
Inspiration.
expect this, so I'm not really sure what to say, except for my goal has always been to encourage, empower, educate, elevate, and uplift our youth. So I wouldn't be able to be here without all of you in this room uplifting me so that I can help uplift the next generation. So thank you all for that. As a lot of you, all of you are my mentors, and you know I seek advice from all of you. So thank you for being there for me. And last but not least, thank you to my mother sitting there, because she's always been my sounding board and my supporter. So thank you, I love you, and thank you all for allowing me to be in this position. Thank you so much.
And yes, he has an awesome mom. Please give her a big old hand. She comes and supports him. Next, we have none other than Yvonne Thomas. I so am honored to award her this California Legislature Certificate of Recognition. Would you please come up? Dawn Addis heard about what we were doing, and she said she wanted to be a part of it. So here it is. Congratulations. Thank you. Yvonne Thomas, Certificate of Recognition. On behalf of the state of California and the 30th Assembly District, we congratulate you for demonstrating exceptional commitment to advancement of our region and for being an integral part of the 4th Annual George Floyd Community Engagement and Building Bridges Symposium. We could do this. We're going to have to build out a bigger stage.
Yvonne, on behalf of Congressman Panetta, I'd like to present you this award of special congressional recognition in recognition of outstanding and valuable service to our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So Supervisor Askew also wanted to commend Monterey Chief of Police David Hober. So it's for your meaningful participation. It's your commitment to advancing dialogue, fostering unity, bridges, developing opportunities in the community, enduring legacy of George Floyd, remembering what that stood for, and he said it in a speech. Thank you for that. Really, that's big right now. So your stock with me went up another 10%. Through your engagement, you have contributed and shaped more inclusive involvement with our discussions that we had with the youth, the community commitment, and with deep appreciation, we commend your efforts and leadership in community engagement. Wendy, we ask you, and so we can take a picture, and I promised her I'd send it. These are the other officers that were here earlier, and they had to go back to work. But again, please thank them for us. Thank you. We appreciate that. Yes. And this individual we all see everywhere, and almost like that movie All at Once. It's Wes White. He volunteers and helps. So please, Wes, can you come on up and listen to that. You know, all you have to do is ask him, And sometimes you don't even have to ask. And he never asked for any remuneration at all. So, Wes, I really appreciate you. I've known you for maybe 12 years, 10 years. You've been seeing him at all the city council meetings. I've seen him at nonprofit organization functions, and my goodness, he's a champion for the homeless. And don't we need a champion for the homeless? So on that note, please another hand as I hand this to you. While he's holding that, if you want to come and share first, and then we'll do it.
Congressman Panetta asked me to also present the certificate of special congressional recognition to Mr. White. Thank you for all the work that you do in our community. Thank you for always volunteering and stepping up to the plate. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'd like these two people to come up. Joni Caldwell, right here, and Sharon White. Let's see how fast you can come on up here. These are two awesome book club people. Is Sharon still here? Sharon? Sharon Miller. Joni Caldwell, on behalf of the state of California and the 30th Assembly District, we congratulate you for your demonstrating exceptional commitment to advancement in our region, for assisting and working with us with youth at risk, with the community, and never asking for anything else. She just offers help. And when you're doing something on a voluntary level like this, it's big, there's a lot of moving parts. And she has helped us with all of that. So good hand for her on that. And this. And you. Great, thank you. See you. Thank you. Another warrior here, Sharon Miller. Please, Sharon, come on over. She's one of my sisters and associates, organizers in the League of Women Voters. So appreciate you always doing so much. Also book club members, and you'll see her a lot of places when there's need. She's working with me as well on the committee that is trying to make sure that we have a good program when it comes to the Sheriff's Oversight Committee. So we attend all those meetings, all those Zoom, for the greater good. And like I said, it's all volunteerism. So thank you. Same words I share with you to congratulate you for demonstrating exceptional commitment and advancement of our region. Dawn Addis said, when I was talking and sharing this information with them, she was glad to see your name there. So if you want to, oh, welcome. Thank you so much. Now, while we're collating everything, what we're going to do is have Dr. Penalver come up and share information. So at the end of the day, it's important that we connect and we learn more about each other. I knew some of why, but most of all, it's important that we look at what's happening between our African American, Black, and Hispanic children. Part of me doesn't get it, because we all need each other. But there's so many moving parts in systems that sometimes it's confusing for them to understand that we do need each other, and it shouldn't be us and them, and this is my corner, or this is my rock. So I asked Dr. Penalver to come up. She's a professor, CSUMB. You have information on her illustrious background. And she said she would come and share a few words about that, because I think that's important for us to learn how and get our kids to start understanding more that we truly need to work together. If you ever come to any of our trainings, we have African American kids, Hispanic kids, Laotian kids, Caucasian. It doesn't matter what race, creed, or color you are. Just come and learn about culture and people and individuals. And that's what we need to do. We're planting that seed at a young level. That's what needs to happen. It has to happen as they grow, not when they're 15, 16, 17, 18, etc. So Dr. Penalver, if you'd come up and share a few words. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the honor of being here with you today at the 4th Annual George Floyd Symposium. I've been here every year since its inception. This space, this gathering is sacred, not only because we remember, not only because we reflect, but because we recommit. We are here because 5 years ago, George Floyd called out for his life, for his mother, for breath. The world saw it, and we will never unsee it. On May 25th, 2020, George Floyd was publicly executed. We must stop softening the language. He was lynched in full view of the public as if to send a message. Black life is disposable. Violence is normalized. That white supremacy still decides who breathes. But something else happened in that moment. People rose. Because George Floyd was not just a man, he became a mirror reflecting centuries of anti-Black violence, systemic inequity, and moral failure in America. But also a mirror reflecting the possibility of collective uprising and global solidarity. I can tell you nothing about George Floyd's death was accidental. It was not a bad apple. It was about a system. It was about the logic of racial capitalism. It was about how Black bodies are criminalized, surveilled, exploited, and silenced across every institution: education, housing, employment, policing, and healthcare. And yet, here is the paradox. In the aftermath of his death, we also witnessed one of the most powerful multiracial, intergenerational mobilizations in modern history, where Black, Latine, Indigenous, Asian, white all rose, all demanding, all organizing. Specifically in Black and brown communities, distinct yet aligned, have always borne the brunt of systemic violence, and yet have always been the architects of resistance. From the Black Panther Party to the Young Lords, from Ferguson to El Paso, from ethnic studies fights in East LA to police abolition movements in Atlanta, our struggles are not isolated, they are intertwined. It is this intersection today, this fusion of outrage and action, that calls us here. I am a new union organizer and leader. I have one central truth that grounds my work and my life. Everything is organizing. Every conversation is organizing. Every shared story, every protest, every classroom discussion, every late night planning session in a church basement. Organizing is the sacred act of bringing people together, not just to resist, but to imagine and to create. And I want to talk today about a particular kind of organizing, one that I believe will determine the future of our justice movements: the organizing among Black and Latine youth. I've seen it too many times, systems of power trying to divide us, trying to pit Black and brown communities against each other. They want us to believe that we are competitors, that our liberation is a zero-sum game, that there's not enough justice, there's not enough jobs, there's not enough power, there's not enough safety for all of us. But let me tell you, division is the strategy of the oppressor. Solidarity is the strategy of the people. So when Black and brown youth come together, not just for performative unity, not just in hashtags, but in real relationship, we unleash a power that cannot be contained. When we organize across languages, across neighborhoods, across identities, across traumas, we make it clear our liberation is bound up in one another's. Let me give you a few examples from the field, from the front lines that I've heard about. Black and brown students coming together to demand better schools, resources, and an end to school-to-prison pipelines. I've seen youth from Black Lives Matter movement and immigrant rights groups host joint healing circles. They talk about deportation and incarceration. They talk about how ICE and police wear different uniforms but serve the same machinery. They write poetry together, they grieve together, and they march together. That is the power of cross-racial youth organizing. That is the power of communication. That is the power of relationship. They all speak justice. Their picket line becomes their family, and they win. And so I ask, on this anniversary, not only how we mourn, but how we recommit. Because remembrance without recommitment is just sentiment. And George Floyd deserves more than just sentiment. He deserves solidarity. He deserves system change. He deserves a generation that refuses to be divided. So, how do we recommit? We center George Floyd, not just as a passive symbol, but as a man, a father, a worker, a community member, someone who should still be alive. We build curriculums that name white supremacy explicitly, not euphemistically. We create public policy shaped by youth, not just about them. We fund Black and brown student-led organizations, not as charity, but as justice. We fight anti-Blackness and anti-Indigenousness behavior and policies within Latina communities, and we confront anti-immigrant bias within Black ones, not as side conversations, but as strategic imperatives. We honor the labor movement and community unions as places where multiracial solidarity lives and where we support youth organizing within them. And we embed this all into the fabric of our education, not just in theory, but in practice. George Floyd's life was stolen, but his name now lives as a mandate to dismantle the systems that killed him, a mandate to build new ones rooted in collective care, a mandate to forge solidarity that is convenient, risky, yet revolutionary. This is what organizing is. It's not just protests, it's not just petitions, but persistent relationship building in the direction of social justice. We cannot build a new world with the old tools. We need imagination, we need courage, and we need each other. So today, in the name of George Floyd and the countless others whose names we say and whose names we never learned, I ask you to recommit. To the youth here, we see you. You are not just the future, you are the now. Keep organizing, keep questioning, keep building across boundaries. Choose solidarity over division. Choose youth power over adult complacency. Choose organizing over waiting, because everything is organizing. And together, we are the movement we've been waiting for. In the words of the great scholar activist, one of my heroes, Bell Hooks, what we do is more important than what we say, or what we say we believe. George Floyd cannot hear us today, but our students can, our children can, our communities can, and they are watching. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Penalver. All right, as I said, we had someone that flew 5,000 miles to get here. Can we please give a hand to Valerie Anthony? So we actually have 2 commendations because of the good work that you're doing throughout the community. And you know, we're running a little late because we started a little late because, you know, people getting here and such. But I still want to let you know that right after we're finished, we're going to have breakout to have some snacks, and in one of the breakout rooms, we'll have Miss Valerie Anthony be able to talk to you about this awesome program that involves Alliances for Youth and Children, and Yvonne Thomas as well is available to talk more about what she's doing. We have 2 breakout rooms available for that, or you can sit in here around the table and talk about it. But this one is a certificate of special congressional recognition presented to Valerie Anthony because you're part of our community engagement and building bridges in recognition of outstanding and invaluable service to the community. And here's the other. And this is because she's a youth advocate. Her 3 sons are all part of our Youth of Promise ambassadors. And they're going around to their schools. And that's what an ambassador does. They advocate for change, for learning more about law enforcement and such. So their mother is a great mentor and role model for that. Certificate of Special Congressional Recognition and recognition of outstanding and valuable service to the community. We thank Congressman Panetta, bestowing this upon you because I know you're doing a lot of great work out there. Thank you. Thank you. I think I want to also mention one thing. We have auction items, and whatever we end up raising goes to the lovely lady sitting in the back from the Helen Record Center, Deja Robinson. Give her a hand. Deja, stand up. I always love what you're wearing. I mean, she's just so awesome. Go to the Juneteenth and see all her awesome outfits. She stands out, and she's awesome. She's at the CSUMB. And a great role model for our community and our young people that I happen to know, and they speak of you often. So this painting here was created for us for the event. We're going to auction it off. There's a paper here, you can put the amounts there. Those funds will be written directly if you're interested in it. You'll take that home today and you'll write that check to, or I'm sure they probably will take cash too if they do, to Miss Deja Robinson for the Helen Rucker Center. That center does a lot of wonderful things to help youthful students on campus with some of those needs that sometimes you don't think about. So if we can give Miss Robinson a hand again and know that that's what that's about. So on that note, let me mention one other thing that's very important. NAACP, 116 years, and is Lyndon Tarver still here? Lyndon Tarver, he's the president, he was here a little while ago. We need organizations like this now more than ever. The NAACP isn't simply for African American people, it's for all of us. And that's why I want us to remember that. And if you're not a member, please consider, do you have membership applications here? Good, and it's Miss Ruth Watts, of course. And if you have time to come over before you leave today and learn more about it. Each of these three ladies are part of the NAACP. So on that note, I want to make one more comment for those of you that supported us. Panetta, Blue Sky Cleaning Services, CAS, which is the CAS Action Alliance, the Club Scholarship Fund. So the funds will be for the Helen Record Center and the CAS Education Scholarship Fund as well. Any other questions before we, oh, here's Mr. Tarver, if you can, I'm not going to ask you to sprint up here, but you can if you'd like. We'd be really impressed, I'm sure. So while you're coming up, as soon as he's able to say a few words, I almost don't want to hand this to you if I could. I just don't want feedback problems.
I come over.
You want to come? Okay. So while he's coming up, know that we'll be able to have some refreshments to come back. We'll have collated more because we have Mr. Donald Maggott Jr.'s that we are going through the students to make sure that you receive your award today. So, un momento. All right, here we go. President Lyndon Tarver, NAACP.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me up here. This is a great event. I'm sorry that a lot of you ambassadors didn't make it, but the spirit is great. The participation of the individuals who took time out of their busy schedule on a long weekend to recognize George Floyd and the sacrifices he made, and the folks. Jacqueline, you did a great job putting this together. Thank the police departments. I've known Chief Hober for a while, good friend, and also the chief of Seaside. We were friends with just about all the police departments within Monterey County. We had this program called Breakfast with the Badgers. We started last April. We've been on a hiatus, but we're going to kick it back in because that's a platform that the NAACP supports law enforcement. Because we are law-abiding citizens, and we, like everyone, they have dignity and respect. Police officers are not robots. They're human, they have feelings like everyone else. And I also like to thank Valerie for showing up. We've been at this a long time, and I know you've been in Georgia, but the Pacific Grove Unified School Districts have made great strides in equity and inclusion of all students within that school district. You know, we just hired a new principal of Seaside High School, so looking for some changes there as well, because there's been a lot of issues concerning our black and brown students. And I appreciate Dr. P.K. Diffenbaugh staying on as superintendent. And I think we can make some great changes together. Thank you.
Let's thank and award one of our Youth of Promise ambassadors that's truly a leader. Please, Mr. Donald Maggott Jr., come on down.
Donald, Congressman Panetta could not be here with us today, but he asked me if I could also present the Certificate of Special Congressional Recognition to Mr. Donald Maggott Jr. In recognition of his outstanding and invaluable service to our community. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Maggott. And we look forward to your color guard performing next year when they're in town. They're in Denver right now, flags and all that. All right, so as I said before, we have these raffle items over here. I have one of my book that I wrote, Unspoken Conversations, and I'm not hawking my book, I'm just saying we need to have conversations that we're not having about everything, especially now. And that's what I shared, and I articulated two of our George Floyd events in the book, essentially saying the same thing, is that we all need each other. We need to start having the conversation, and I believe, and this is a question for you, that we have more in common than we don't. We have more in common as a people, as humanity. And I just really wish that we would start reaching for that and just opening up and having the conversations. Sometimes it's hard, but I believe we really need to do it now more than ever. So on that note, let me ask you, please give yourselves a hand for patience. And the students, the majority of the ambassadors are, like I said, they're coming from other areas because we have a borderless program. It's, you know, it doesn't matter what city, as long as you're in Monterey County. And so literally we have 16 that are trying to still get here, and that may happen. I'll be here today until 6, and we'll present them or present them in another environment. To Congressman Panetta's office, Aaron Davis, I said, Ms. Watts must be a part of this, so thank you for all you do. Yeah.
Thank you. You're so welcome.
You got to take those.